Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 1 to What If Naruto Was a Demon Slayer, which, based on what the title and thumbnail suggest, is going to be based on the anime/manga Demon Slayer. So with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's just get right into the video itself. So in this what if, the demon, basically like the very first demon of the, Demon Slayer world, is actually going to be born into Naruto. Now, he wasn't actually born as like a demon or anything like that. He actually was kind of turned into a demon by a doctor because he was about to like die, basically. So that's exactly how he's going to be turned into a demon in this what if as well, which I'm not really sure how like a doctor was just like demonize you, but whatever, we'll pretend like you can definitely do that. But yeah, so he would have died, so they made him into a demon basically. So he is going to be the first demon. So this is going to be at around the same time-ish as the time that Minato was actually born, because, so time actually kind of works. So with that, there's actually a pretty easy time for Muzan to just go around and start building up more demons, more powerful demons and everything like that. So because of the fact that he has the power to turn others into demons, he's actually able to do that relatively easily. So he goes around and he turns people into demons, making his, little like gang of people following him, along with random demons that like go rogue and different things like that. So throughout Minato's lifespan, over however long he lives, which, isn't that absurdly long, there's basically like hundreds, maybe even thousands of demons that would actually be created through this weird method, and eventually, obviously, it would come to the point where they would have to fight against all of the ninja and everything like that, now that they're becoming a bigger menace than what, was actually expected. Around this time that the basically demons are declaring war against all of the ninja, Minato and Kushina would actually be giving birth to Naruto, but the Nine Tails attack wouldn't actually happen because Obito has other plans in mind, or he'd be dead at this point. Like, he's just nowhere really to be found at this point because of the fact that the demons are around. His plans would get thwarted and changed because, similar to what the demons are in Demon Slayer, there's only one type of weapon that would actually be able to damage them, and that's the sword of a Demon Slayer, which obviously no ninja inside of Naruto actually have, at least not yet. So with that, nobody's really able to do anything to them. Like, yeah, the demons are a little bit weaker, but because, they just are, they're not quite as strong, but they just can't be, like, they're basically immortal comparatively to the actual ninja themselves. They can't be damaged by them, and eventually they obviously would get stronger and become strong enough to actually kill even the most powerful of ninja. That actually includes Minato. So Minato would obviously be fighting basically at like the front lines of this because he's like a really smart guy. He needs to figure out exactly how he's going to take down these seemingly immortal beings because, he kind of needs to do that. Otherwise, everybody he knows and loves is going to get killed or turned into a demon by them. And he doesn't exactly want that to happen. Out of the corner of Minato's eyes, he spots something. There's some random, like, pretty fodder ninja who actually is wielding this sword, and he is able to cut down all of these different, basically, why can't I remember? I can't fucking speak right now. He's basically able to cut down all of the demons in front of him. Relatively easily, as a matter of fact. The sword just slices straight through them and they don't actually regenerate from it. Nothing like that even happens. He's like, what? What is that? He runs over there and teleports over. In a series of running and teleportation, he actually appears over there, grabbing the sword from the man, killing all the demons in front of him and saying, well, thanks for this, but I'm gonna take it, basically. So he goes back to the front lines of this fight and uses this sword, which obviously would be a Demon Slayer sword that person had actually forged. They obviously forged it out of some like random metal that they had found, which is obviously quite different from what normally would actually be used. So Minato goes around slicing and cutting basically most of the different demons that actually exist until Muzan would actually come and face Minato himself. He is the most powerful and longest living demon so far, and he'd be like the only one that would actually be able to take him on. At this point, Minato had basically killed only really 10% of the demons, however Muzan did not want any more casualties. So with Muzan jumping down onto the battlefield for the first time, he would begin facing off against Minato. However, I should probably mention something. The fact that Muzan, and basically all the demons for that matter, are actually going to be a lot stronger than what they would be in the Demon Slayer universe, because the people that are being turned into demons are already stronger because they're part of the Naruto universe, basically. So yeah, they're basically a lot stronger, basically. It's like the only way I could really put it. So only like ninja, and high rate ninja at that, would actually be able to kill them, even with something like a, Demon Slayer sword. So I figured I should mention that before, this person goes like head on with Minato, like, he shouldn't be able to do that according to the manga. He is only like wall level or some random like bullshit like that. I don't care. I'm making him stronger because it's a what if, and it actually kind of makes sense that they would be stronger because of the fact that the people originally were stronger. So yeah, that's basically why that is happening. So he goes and he faces off against Minato, and he eventually does manage to disarm Minato and completely breaks the sword, as a matter of fact. He breaks it in half, and he actually slaps it right out of Minato's hand, sending it flying way away out of like pretty much anybody's sight. Minato did not have like a seal placed on it, so he couldn't teleport to it or teleport to himself. So he needed to figure out exactly how he was going to try to do this, and the best option that he could think of would be to seal. That's like the only thing he could possibly do at this point. However, Minato was weakened from this fight pretty significantly, as a matter of fact, and he really only had one option, if we're actually being honest, and that was to try to use the Reaper Death Seal on him. So he prepares for that. He begins using the Reaper Death Seal, and it's going pretty well, as a matter of fact, at first. He's pretty quickly sucking away the soul of the guy, but something actually happens. Obviously, all the demons aren't just gonna, like, watch and let this happen once they see Muzan being defeated, and they jump in, and they begin rapidly stabbing and they're basically completely butt-fucking Minato at this point. And with this happening, obviously Minato would die. However, he did still manage to seal away a part of Muzan. Specifically, his arms, because, a reference to Hiruzen, or not Hiruzen, but Orochimaru right there. So with that actually happening, the ninja and the demons would actually retreat back into their own little things, calling this war a draw for now. They both lost their most powerful asset, at least to a certain degree at this point. So something actually quite interesting that would happen because of this is that Kushina would actually continue to be alive and have the Nine Tails inside of her. Naruto was born. He doesn't have a dad, but he has a mom, and he doesn't have the Nine Tails inside of him. So that's something that's quite interesting. However, people would find that sword that Minato had actually been using to cut down the actual demons themselves, and obviously they would begin forging their own swords of this, and a Demon Slayer Corps would actually begin forming up to basically try to slay all of these demons and get rid of them, because they really don't need to be here anymore. The ninja had lost many actual, people, obviously, to the different demons. However, not that many casualties actually ensued because of the fact that pretty shortly after the battle began, it ended because Minato decided he wanted to, kill everything, basically. So not that many ninja had actually been killed, and Naruto, obviously, eventually would get one of these Demon Slayer swords, because Kushina basically was just like, yeah, you're gonna avenge your dad whether or not you want to or not. Obviously Naruto would want to, but Naruto does get a Demon Slayer sword, and that's basically that. So with that actually happening, Naruto would begin training, because obviously they can't use jutsu against them. They need to figure out something else. So they develop something that they actually call breathing techniques, obviously. So with that happening, with them developing these actual breathing techniques to actually, increase how strong they are and more powerful attacks, obviously, that is pretty good for everybody. So with them developing all of these. So Naruto's original, I guess you could say, breathing technique is actually going to be storm breathing, which, according to what I've seen so far in the actual Demon Slayer anime, has not actually been shown or explored at all, so I can, make up my own liberties and do kind of what I want with that whole thing. Like, I don't have to be like, yeah, he uses water and has like the exact same abilities as Tanjiro. I don't really want to do that. I'm gonna have Naruto do his own kind of thing and come up with my own abilities that I think I like, and that would be pretty cool, at least in my opinion. So that's what we're going to be doing. So the first form, or the first breath that Naruto is actually going to have, or the first one that he's actually going to learn, is basically just something that he calls Slash of the Storm, because, you know, why the hell not? So it's basically, you know, a sword slashing technique that would increase the cutting power and a little bit of the range of the actual sword, because, you know, it's not like a projectile necessarily, but it actually does make like a little bit of an extension of the sword because of the fact that he's, you know, using this technique. Apparently. I can't fucking talk apparently, but yeah. So that is going to currently be the only breathing technique that Naruto actually knows, because obviously I have come up with more and I have, you know, more written down exactly what they're going to do. However, how would Naruto exactly learn all of these really quickly? There's nobody really to teach him, because there's nobody that has learned them themselves. Naruto would have to teach all this stuff to himself, which is obviously possible. We see the wolf dude do that. Like, he basically taught himself beast breathing. So, you know, it's obviously a thing that they can do. However, it would be more difficult, so Naruto would only master the first form of storm breathing, at least, you know, for the start of this. So, with that actually happening, Naruto would begin more and more training, and eventually he gets to the point where he would, you know, join the Demon Slayer Corps, I guess you could say. So, with Naruto actually joining this corps of Demon Slayers, he gets his own missions and everything like that. There isn't like this, like, massive, like, graduation thing, or like where you have to pass this certain test or anything like that. That doesn't happen. It's pretty much a replacement for the academy. It basically teaches you how to kill demons and how to kill ninja. They kind of like mix it together to a certain degree. And most of the actual villages obviously would actually, you know, do this, because everybody's kind of fighting fucking demons at this point. So, with that actually happening, Naruto would begin going out on some of his missions, which would be completely different from what they would be in the original. It's not, oh yeah, go clean up this pond, go escort this guy to the frickin' water. No, it's mostly just demon-related things, like kill this demon that is like completely rampaging this village, or do something of that sort. So with Naruto getting his first village, it brings him to a non-ninja village that's somewhere like pretty relatively close to the actual Leaf Village. That is actually being basically ransacked, I guess you could say, by a demon. Naruto heads over there and he arrives there pretty quickly. With him actually getting there, Naruto looks around the village and sees all of the damage to certain buildings. Some of them have massive claw marks on them and these weird black, like, goop-like stains that he could see were actually dripping from where those claw marks actually originally were. Thinks that's pretty interesting as he continues to walk through the village, where the closer he gets to the center, the more habitable, I guess you could say, it seems. The buildings still have all their lights on and everything like that, however, people still do not want to come outside. The closer Naruto gets to the actual center of the village, the more people seem to not really be aware of everything that is going on farther out. Naruto finds this interesting, as if they don't even know what's happening. How would that even be possible? How have they not walked outside? So, Naruto walks into a tavern, and he obviously would begin trying to get answers out of the actual tavern keep himself. Tavern Keep does not appreciate Naruto asking all of these questions. He thinks that Naruto is digging in a little bit too deep, because of the fact that Demon Slayers are similar to what they are in the, you know, Demon Slayer anime, are not, like, necessarily actually recognized by anyone other than ninja villages. They basically don't, like, say, oh yeah, I'm a demon slayer, I'm gonna do this, and I have to find where this demon is. They're just gonna be like, okay, firstly, you shouldn't be carrying around a fucking sword, and second, like, they're basically going to be doing something along the lines of that. So, Naruto can't really just be like, well, I'm a demon slayer, and I need you to tell me about this demon, because obviously they don't even believe in demons at this point. They haven't, like, seen all of this rampage that they have actually caused. Naruto realizes he's not going to get any answers this way, and he begins heading back outside. where he actually uses his second ability that he had actually learned while training, which would be the second breath, which I'm going to call Hushed Wind. It's similar to the beast technique, I don't remember exactly what it was called, where he basically has this set range where he can detect certain things within it. Naruto will be able to basically detect disturbances / movement inside of a set range that he actually has. So with that actually happening, Naruto uses this and he begins sensing around for different things. He can sense the difference between a demon and a normal person, and eventually he does sense it. On the very outskirts of the actual village itself, in a building near, where the wall would actually be for this village, he senses a demon. He begins heading over in that direction, obviously, now on guard that he knows that for an absolute fact there is a demon inside of this village. So he heads over there, and eventually he gets to the building where this demon is actually residing. He can also smell blood from inside of this building, as Naruto opens the door and begins walking in, where he sees a demon hunched over a man eating him. Obviously, Naruto is completely taken, aback by this. He has not killed a demon, not seen a demon, and doesn't really know an absurd amount about demons in the first place. He's only 12 years old, and nobody really knows anything about demons, because they've only been around for, 30 to 40 years. They have not been around for all that long. So, Naruto is basically staring at this demon, who basically senses / sees the light behind him, and turns around to look at who's intruding on him in his, basically, eating place. He turns around and he sees Naruto standing there. He sees the sword that's basically, in his hand at this point, and he recognizes him as a demon slayer. But based on his age, he knows he's pretty inexperienced and young. Perfect meal, he thinks. He lunges towards Naruto, who begins to use a breathing technique. Obviously, this being the first breath, I don't really see what the second breath is actually going to do for Naruto right here. So he slashes down, and a basically gust of wind would appear in front of Naruto, and the sword swings down, and it actually pretty easily cuts the demon. Naruto cuts both of the arms of the demon off, and he begins going down for another attack, this one to cut the head off of the demon. Obviously, Naruto kills it relatively easily, and the demon falls to the floor dead. Naruto realizes that this mission was a pretty easy success, as a matter of fact, begins to walk out, and he wants to go to some sort of tavern in order to rest a little bit. However, that ain't gonna happen, because Naruto gets his second mission already. However, that's where I'm gonna leave this part off. So I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace out, bye.